So I'm in the Masonic Cemetery in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Same place I came a couple years ago and did the gravesite of Pat Garrett. He's over here too. But I was watching Lamont at Large and he was here. And there's a ghost story that goes along with this cemetery. And like with most ghost stories, it's just a story, but there's a little bit of evidence to back this one up. I don't know what the validity of the evidence is, but it is compelling. So I'm gonna show you the grave and tell you the story. This little girl is Faviola Rodriguez. In September 2018, Faviola's mother, working the graveyard shift, left her daughter with her boyfriend, Lalo Anthony Castrillo. She called Castrillo at around midnight to check on Faviola, and he told her at that time that she was sleeping soundly. Later that night, about 3 in the morning, she got in touch with Castrillo, and he said that Faviola was not breathing. And the ambulance was called, and medical personnel tried to resuscitate her with CPR, but they were unsuccessful. The little girl had bruising on the face, chin, and both sides of her abdomen. It was determined that the bruising on her abdomen was not due to the CPR that was performed. An autopsy performed on Faviola said she sustained blunt force trauma to her head and body. Castrillo was charged with murder, but was released on bond and has been awaiting trial for over 2 years. So justice has not yet been served for Faviola's death. So to tell the rest of Faviola's story, or this story, I've got to tell you about James C. Bustamante, who died November 23rd, 2019. Now, I saw a couple YouTubers say that he was murdered and that the murderer, the judge had dropped the charges against the murderer and he was walking free. But on his Find the Grave site, in his obituary, it states that he died peacefully at 43 years old. So I'm not sure what the details are around that, but either way, the family noticed that his headstone had been vandalized a little bit and they wanted to find out what was going on. So they set up a CCTV camera to try to capture and find out who was messing with the headstone. Well, when they took the SD card out, I guess, whatever, and took it home and pulled up on the computer, they found images on the computer of somebody at the gravesite. These are some of the images. A little girl in the middle of the night in the Masonic Cemetery in Las Cruces, New Mexico, at James Bustamante's gravesite. When the family brought these photos to the cemetery, the people that worked at the cemetery, one of the workers immediately said, "Hey, I know that person. That's Faviola Rodriguez in the picture." And they got in touch with Faviola's mother, and Faviola's mother said that is her daughter. She recognizes her from head to toe. And she really believes that Faviola has visited James Bustamante and her own gravesite. Because both gravesites had noticed stuff being moved around. She believes 100% this is her daughter in the video. And this is the gravesite of Faviola Rodriguez, the little girl that was killed. In looking up, researching this video, the trial was set for July this year. But I guess at the trial, they threw out some of the evidence, I think the 911 call and some of the pictures, I believe it was. So the New Mexico Supreme Court is taking up the case, and I guess supposedly that's going to work in Faviola's favor because some of the evidence that was thrown out is going to be allowed back in. So to this day, and this is September 2021, it's been 3 years, he still has not faced justice. So whether you believe the little girl in the video was Faviola or not, this is still a murder victim who is still awaiting justice. And it's kind of fitting to me if James Bustamante was murdered as well, like some of the YouTubers said, and his murderer went free, then they kind of both have a similar story. Justice hasn't been served, and maybe they're comforting each other in death. Who knows? What do you think? Is the pictures Faviola? I hope and pray that Faviola's killer is brought to justice and is punished for the crime he committed. Rest in peace, sweet angel.